Lucky Lefty Podcast. Honora Boys in the building. It's the weekend left. It's the weekend. We're brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure you do it
responsibly.
Let's get it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Share, let everybody know. Leave your comments, questions. We respond to all. Also, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network, Lucky Legends Podcast, Players Only Podcast. You can tap over right there, tap in, lock in with us. At Lucky Lefty Pod, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. We got some special things coming up for you. Stay tuned. Today, we talk quarterbacks with the only one on this show that has actually played the quarterback position at the University of Notre Dame. He is the original Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE. I am SD2 Mike Sean Davis. NBA got back to work last night, left. The Four Nations was absolutely incredible. Overtime between Canada and the United States. I'll tell you why that made me think about Notre Dame and possible changes in college football, because change is good. You know, yesterday we talked about not liking certain changes, but there are some changes that we would rock with because change is good. And I think the Four Nations tournament in hockey showed just why. Other than that, how was your evening, Left?
It's been good, locked in, man. Focused, trying to get stuff done, and good Friday, man.
Got plans for this weekend?
Not so much, just hanging out.
Just hanging out. I am going to be planning another quick trip out to the West Coast. I got permission. We're working on a 5-track EP called Thin Line.
Oh,
called Thin Line.
Is this world exclusive? With the horn.
Ari Camille working on a 5-track EP. It's probably going to be dropping sometime in May. It's going to be called Thin Line. 2 songs about love, and 2 songs about disappointment, and then 1 song is going to be a beat change mixture of both.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So we got the concept down. Shout out to all of the Chicago producers that are really tapped in, and God is good, man.
Who is she? Who is it going through?
Oh, we indie. We indie. Yeah. First joint is all us. We about to make all the money.
Yeah,
we're making all the money. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I love it, man. So I see no other way. I have to go out there, bro. Because you get to a point. You're dude when
so you're the A&R is what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
It's SD Records?
I'm not going that far. I'm not going that. You know what I mean? It would be a Lucky Lefty joint venture. You know what
I mean? Yeah. Okay.
So we're waiting. I think this week will be the final episode of live auditions, and then we go into, her next performance is either going to be the following week or the week after that. So, Ari Camille, man, my baby girl. The only bad thing about it that I got forgiveness for once people saw her actually on TV is that I got forgiveness for allowing her to be a graduate of the University of Southern California from fan base. Let's get into it, man. First question left. Is this the most important quarterback battle in recent Notre Dame history?
Important. It is important for the quarterback position to be better than last year, which isn't, from a vacuum standpoint, shouldn't be hard to do in this era of throwing the football for quarterbacks and the types of offenses and that we've seen. We should be able to clear 3,000 yards. That should be done within the first 9 or 8 games.
Mm.
When Denver, we talk about it. We've seen JD Daniels. Denbrock had that for 2 years and turned it into a Heisman and 2 first-round receivers. So we're not just talking about just some rinky-dink offensive coordinator. He probably personally is looking forward to the fact to throwing more than 2,800 yards in the season. So it's more of, can we get the right fit now? Are we done playing this game of who's the quarterback roulette every year because we just don't trust our development? I think a lot of confidence should be going into Gino. What has he done with this quarterback room thus far? So yeah, I just think the spotlight is turned up more on the quarterback position because everybody and their mom could agree in that game, if we were just halfway more decent throwing the football, 11 points isn't a dramatic thing to come back in. So
I'm going to go out on the limb and say it is the most important because I think this quarterback battle will define one of the most difficult steps for any program or any head coach. Transforming yourself from the hunter to the hunted is something that we've seen Marcus Freeman do over the last 3 years. Now, becoming a consistent national championship contender is a totally different beast. And what allows you to do that is consistent quarterback play.
Yeah,
consistent quarterback play. You can say what you want to say about Georgia's quarterback. They don't go out and get 5 stars, or they haven't had 5 stars, but their quarterbacks have consistently been able to pass the ball. And they've been able to have a dude, mainly, their main guy was a tight end. I'm very interested in seeing if they can find a dude that's not a tight end now, that they lost Brock to the NFL. And of course, he went on to the NFL to show everybody why he was a dude and D-man at Georgia at the tight end position. But for me, Left, it's the most important since you and Deshaun in 2016. I'm going to keep it a buck. And I think it's fair to say that the coaching staff made not the wrong decision as far as who they chose. I'll leave that up to you to talk about that side of it. But I think it's how they did it that was more damaging than the actual choice. Because I think if they had made the same choice but done it correctly, things probably would have been a lot better. And a lot of the dominoes that eventually fell because of that probably wouldn't have taken place. So I'm going to say it's the most important quarter because the last 2 years, when Sam Hartman versus Tyler Buckner wasn't a battle. I don't care what they tell you. There was no quarterback battle last year. I don't care how it was advertised, written about. It wasn't. I'll go even a step further. The Tyler Buckner-Drew Pine battle wasn't a battle. This according to what most people believe, is a genuine battle. It is a genuine battle. And I'll echo the same thing I said about the 2016 battle between you and Deshaun Kaiser. It's not who you choose, it's how you do it. It's not who, because you can win. You should be able to win with all three. You should be able to win games with all three. But the team is watching. And you can't lie to the players. The players know. They go after each practice, after each workout, they go back to the room and talk amongst themselves. They have their favorites. You know, everybody will tell you, like, oh, well, you can win with all the guys. And dude, when they go back to the room, you best believe, you know, players are talking and saying, hey, we can win with everybody, but yo, such and so is lighting it up. Oh man, such and so is looking good today. Everybody knows. So for me, Left, that's why I say it's the most important. Because it's the truest quarterback battle that Marcus Freeman has had, in my opinion.
I mean, from guys that we have the most unknown questions about, but also the only people that know the most is the coaching staff. So that's the best part about it, is that this is the best in-house unveiling that we can have, to where the team is not necessarily out of sync with either quarterback. It's just, okay, who's going to emerge as the guy that we need? So it is interesting that we're going with a different philosophy so fast, considering how committed we were to doing this type of buy a quarterback for a year, so to speak, and getting, I think, the worst out of the deal, solely because we didn't win a championship, but also what was the return value? The offense that we ran last year is going to be nothing to what this year is, considering skill set alone. And we all can agree that last year wasn't about how great the quarterback had to be. It was more of, can this quarterback develop for whatever reason? That's what we chose to do, is develop a 1-year guy who was imperfect for what we needed the fit for. But, you know, we got what we got out of him. He was our greatest strength and weakness at times. And we made it to the national championship. It's a place we haven't been to since 2012, which we all predicted, with all things lining up right. Even through the injuries, we were still able to make it and have some phenomenal games along the way. So I think it was a great season for Marcus Freeman to gain the confidence of the Notre Dame talking heads and the Notre Dame trust that we have a guy that legitimately can build a program. So he got his money this year, which is good. So he got that out the way. He can focus on this 4, 5, and 6 years, which is still a window to win the whole thing. And it's just going to take the commitment to, like we talked about, having that franchise, so to speak, quarterback for at least 2 to 3 years. I don't see why you would take the best opportunity to do that now, considering where the team is, where, okay, the team lost some pieces that they could use a great quarterback to fit in there and hold it all together until we get these, you know, next level players that we believe we can get. I don't think our recruiting is taking a dip necessarily, but the shine maybe has worn off in certain ways, where the confidence in the places that give recruiting classes that possess, we can get a Ryan Williams, we can get a Jeremiah Smith. It's still yet to be seen, but this is the year with the talent we still do have in the quarterback room and in the receiver room, that we can make a different shift in the offense. Remember when Steve Angeli went in for that one drive in the Penn State game, we looked like an air raid team, right down the field, just throwing the ball left and right to everybody. So if we can look more like that next year, it would just be a refreshing look for a quarterback that's trying to be the franchise quarterback for the next 2, 3 years.
So you just mentioned Steve Angeli. Let's start with him. He is, um, if you want to say the betting favorite, because he was the backup, and you would presume or that he is slightly ahead of the youngsters that didn't get the same amount of playing time. CJ Carr is coming off his injury. Everything's supposed to be clean with his elbow, and we speak health to him in this battle because we want it to be a fair battle and that the best man wins. And then you have Kenny Minchey. But let's start with Steve Angeli. You talked about the poise that he's shown. I think he has a feathery touch. I think he throws a really good deep ball. I think we saw that last year. Um, what would you like to see him improve upon, or what do you think is going to be his challenge going into the battle? And if he does win the job, where does he need to improve, in your opinion, Love?
I gotta think he is where he is. It's one of those things to where how much experience can he lump up to potentially play a full season? And so I think it's more of like the Garrett Nussmeier type of route. He's got some good qualities. He's pretty solid, but is he a winner in the moments? Like we've required Sam and Riley Leonard that we knowingly knew that were ahead, that the quarterback needed to shine. But this season coming up, you got some tests that's like, it's nothing too hot in the water to where we think that the quarterback needs to save us outside of him just playing great the whole season. So we all kind of see where the potential of a Steve Angeli can get us. He's been a part of big moments. He's been a part of winning teams. He's been a part of tough seasons as well. So it would be the most common sense thing, but I think for the team to keep its momentum on a championship possibility of winning it, I think the window for Kenny Minchey is the perfect opportunity for him to take the reins because we need a guy that's going to push the position better than the talent that we've seen the last few years. And Riley's, and I mean, and Sam Hart, I mean, excuse me, Steve Angeli's not a world talent beater where he's just oh my gosh, number one pick phenomenon. He's just a good quarterback. And I think it would be refreshing for Marcus Freeman to put his stamp like Nick Saban has on his marquee quarterbacks that changed the program outside of him just being a good coach. He had four quarterbacks that all had an opportunity to get the job done on multiple occasions. And that's NFL players. So is Steve Jelly an NFL first round starter? No. Is he a tier one NIL guy? I don't think our new GM would believe that. He could get some money at Macy's or, get a Dove, maybe commercial. He's going to get good stuff because at Notre Dame. I mean, let's be honest. He was everywhere in New York, so he's going to get the luxuries of a Notre Dame quarterback. But is he getting a Deuce Knight Mercedes Benz with a big chain, talking about, great relationships and stuff? No. But for Marcus Freeman to get a player like that and for Notre Dame to want a quarterback like that, I mean, they haven't been the highest on chasing the absolute Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston top guy necessarily, or don't see it as the number one importance. But if we put some effort into that, I think that would just overall change the landscape of what Notre Dame is perceived as, but also keep us in the contention of winning it. Because at this point, it's coming down to who's your best phenom quarterback that's going to take you places. We've seen it with a Nico Iamaleava, who we knew probably couldn't get the whole way, but for him to be in the playoffs means a big thing for a young quarterback like himself because now it's going to be a problem in at least the next 2 years. The DJ Lagway has been great. It's going to be a great opportunity for him in Florida. You got the kid from Marcel Jones from Texas A&M. You got all the SEC, Arch Manning, who's looking to be the face of college football, whether he likes it or not, so to speak. And so there's a lot of great young quarterbacks. Dante, they said he's going to win the Heisman. His teammates believe that. Dante Moore in Oregon. So, I mean, this is one of those things where now the premier young quarterback is on display, and it's time Marcus Freeman gets one. That's why the Steve Angeli, so to speak, fits more into a Kyle McCord standpoint. When you can have a good season, but we want to have the marquee attention, like a Desmond Williams in Washington, who's going to be good next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how we approach how we want to move into the future. Because once again, Steve's a 1, possibly 2-year guy left. And do we want to see a 6-year Steve Angeli? I don't know. Because now we're just so you got to think about how fast recruiting is moving, and to stay on pace is the good opportunity to go to Kenny. Stay on pace.
Yeah. This past season, he was 24 for 36 left. That's 66.7% completion percentage, 288 yards. That's 7.4 per attempt. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Longer 42 and a quarterback rating of 156.7. Now, you pointed out that game, that one drive he came in, that was clutch to the ultimate victory over Penn State in the semifinal in the Orange Bowl, 27-24. On that drive, he was 6 for 7 for 44 yards. That's a completion percentage of 85.7 at 6.3 per attempt. And this is the issue. He was sacked twice on that drive. That, for me, that if there's one thing that I think gives most people pause, I think pre-snap, he's really good. I think he identifies where he wants to go, where he needs to go, and he gets rid of the ball. If the picture changes post-snap or what he thought would be there is not there, he has a tendency, we've seen it multiple times when he's gotten into games, to kind of just stand there and accept sacks. With 2 more mobile youngsters with better talent, that might put him at a little bit of a deficit, even though he probably has a better handle on the playbook and being able to call plays and then get out of plays and get into the right play, which might give him an advantage over the youngsters as well. But I think that's one thing that will stand out. How will Coach Denbrock look at, you have to be able to get rid of the ball and avoid that, versus these youngsters can go off script and make something happen when everything isn't blocked up right. And he will be behind by what most people believe will be a really good offensive line and an experienced offensive line now. They weren't experienced before the season, but now they've gone through the stretch. They played a full season, and not only that, they have gotten playoff experience at the highest level. So now you're coming back with returning tackles, Emil Wagner and Charles Jagasaw. That has to make you feel comfortable. You get your starting center back, who was injured. You lose the 2 backups that were there, but you still have Billy Schrauth and maybe Anthony Knapp or one of the other guys like a Gerby Lambert slides inside. Most people assume that this offensive line will be one of the best in the nation. So a guy like Steve Angeli could thrive behind an offensive line like that.
Yeah, I mean, Steve has the luxury of playing behind some people that are going to give him time. We're not going to be going against Abdul Carter every week. So,
thank God. Man. Hey, I watched that game. I think I watched that game last week left. Of course, I didn't watch it in its entirety. I was, fast forwarding through, looking at the Notre Dame possessions. If that's how he plays hurt, that kid more than likely he should be the number one overall pick. But your closing thoughts on Steve Angeli?
Yeah, I just think it's, do we want to waste the future of the program knowing how far we can possibly get with a Steve Angeli in a game where the young quarterbacks is going to be important this year on who's going to be the leader of the new school, so to speak. There's a bunch of good talent of these sophomores and true freshmen that are going to be taking over college football. So it's going to be important to see how we adjust to that, because I think even more than a talent, it's a team morale thing. And getting behind a young superstar quarterback is the wave right now. And we need to be behind that wave. We don't need to take a step in a horizontal way when we could take that leap vertically and be amongst the people that are going to be in contention next year for the playoffs. And it's going to be a young quarterback superstar league. And I'm
Lucky
saying
Lefty Pod, go ahead. Lucky Lefty Podcast.
February 21st.
Huh?
I'm saying it now. It's February 21st. The prophecy is that it's a young superstar quarterback league. You need one. If you don't have it, you're not getting to the playoffs.
All right. Put your GTB questions in, your super chats. We get to them immediately here on the show, and we thank you in advance. So that's Steve Angeli. Let's move along and talk about Kenny Minchey. The kid is really talented, man. The kid is just really talented. Um, when you think about what he's done in his limited snaps this year, you really didn't get a chance. I felt like he would have gotten more run because he had a couple of opportunities against Purdue and I think Virginia, where he had a couple of opportunities to hit some big plays down the field. And beautiful thrower of the football, but he was just a little late. He was just a little late. Actually, I take that back. Purdue, he was 1 for 1 for 4 yards. He got a pass interference to Michael Gilbert in the end zone, and should have been a touchdown if he had let the ball go a little bit quicker. You also saw him pull the RPO and run it in. We laugh about that play because there was no way the running back was getting that ball at all. He heard the call and was like, "Nah, I'm not giving this to the running back. I'm not mad at him for that." But talk about the guy that dons your number. He is the next 8 in line at Notre Dame at quarterback. Kenny Minchey. What does he need to improve from what you've seen, which has been limited? But what do you think he needs to work on?
I mean, I think it's great that he's gone through the process and knows what it means to be the starter at Notre Dame. Seen it years before him and been close to the fire, but now it's time to step into the fire. And in the moment, he's got to beat out Steve Angeli and really be the top dog. And there's the space for it. Marcus Freeman needs a marquee guy. With a haircut, he dang near looks like Marcus Freeman. So he got to be able to, take advantage of this moment because, at the end of the day, that's what the program is in line for universally. And, at this point, we need it considering the obvious lack that we had last year that most people can agree behind closed doors that if we're just halfway decent in that department, we can go a far way and we can actually show people we have talent at that position that can also attract the recruiting to really complete that dynasty reload every year type of feel that we know we can have. We made it to this far with a middle of the road, performance throwing the football. And that's hard to do considering every other team are in the 3,000 and 4,000 yard passing numbers sitting in. I mean, look at SMU. They had to throw for dang near 6 million yards getting to get into the playoffs. So it just shows you that that's what the game is, and there's a lot of young guys that can do it. So this is his window to be in that crowd, right? Because once you're in that crowd, then it's like, okay, who's the top dog in the country? And that's only going to help us get closer to our goal in the quarterback room. Let's get that first round Heisman appearance type of guy sitting in New York, this, that, and the third. Because the best part about it is that you have Denver. He just did it. He just showed you if you can just do 2 years straight, I can turn you into something even better. And he's not really going nowhere. And Kenny's got the right amount of years. He's ready. He's primed. He's seasoned enough to go through these bumps and bruises in the season. That's ambiguous. I mean, we can win the whole thing, or we could lose 4 games easily, depending on the quarterback play. So this is where he gets that. Do we work with this, or are we fast tracking our recruitment or getting another transfer?
For me, Kenny, I need to see whether or not I believe he has the physical tools, every physical tool. I want to see the dog come out, and hopefully this competition brings that out. Like, have the audacity. Like, don't play Mr. Nice Guy. I want him to have a little bit of Malik Zaire when he came in. Like, I'm cool with everybody. I rock with everybody, but I'm here. Like, you let it be known, like, yo, I'm not just here to just wait. I'm here. And he has bided his time. And I want him to let Steve know, I respect you, but I'm here. CJ, I see you, but I'm here. I need him to go out there and show that. Show some attitude.
Yeah, that's, the Mr. G. Willikers can't exist in a situation where we're trying to be the beacon of where we're looking to win games. That's the consistent model. Get a quarterback that can consistently win games. Shador showed it. Cam Moore showed it. We can go to all these different schools, but guess what? We're going to put up numbers. We're going to win games. So we need to be in a position where our quarterback is leading from the front. There's no more, I just throw it up and hope guys run to it. It's not acceptable. I don't know why we accepted that last year, but that's no more. And I think Marcus Freeman understands that.
I think that's one of the other things that the coaching staff might be looking for. You said you loved what he showed. He put up that tape when he went home over the Christmas break. I think was it the Christmas break he went home and was working out, or Thanksgiving break? It was one of those breaks when they had a bye week or something, and he was working out. And it's just obvious, man. The ball comes off his hand clean. The release is just beautiful. You love the size. The kid is he looks healthy. His leg looks healthy from his injury his senior year in high school. And so now you're just waiting to see all this talent just kind of come together. Like, can you put all of the pieces together? Right? And to be honest, correct me if I'm wrong, Left. Am I wrong for thinking that he has the least amount to lose in this race?
He has the most to gain.
He has the most to gain, but he can play loose. In my opinion, he can play loose. Like, hey.
Yeah, people won't be distraught. It'll be like, you could have been the one. This is the perfect opportunity in Marcus Freeman's career where he can find the one. And on the team the whole time. It's been the refreshing drink of water we've needed. And when we've been searching all over, we had it the whole time in-house. That's what this season, in my opinion, is about. The coming out party of us finally showing true development, true signs, and we can have a top 10 quarterback. I mean, it's not hard. There's some top 10 quarterbacks I think we got better than right now because
Well, I'm a
it's wide open.
yeah.
That's what I mean. It's wide. I mean, there's a lot of good talent, but it's wide. I mean, nobody really is like definitive. Oh, this is top five. You can't mess with it. Like when it was the Caleb CJ Stroud year.
Yeah. For me, I've watched the kid. Look, it was amazing. I remember hitting you after the first practice. I saw Kenny Minchey. I was like, and this is with Sam Hartman. I was like, the dude has the best arm in the room as a true freshman. He hasn't had an all season of training. Just it's not even close, right? And then when you start hearing the buzz about the next quarterback we're going to talk about during the Sun Bowl preparation, and I'm like, so we're just going to ignore the arm that's been there all year. Nobody, you don't want to write a story about that, but all of a sudden you want to write stories about the promise of arms. It was just always funny to me, and I think I'm gonna be honest, Left. I think in between in between transfer decisions and additions and I'm not saying overhype, but the hype of CJ Carr, I feel like Kenny Minchey had to mentally work himself through
No, that's what
some
I mean by the
some of that.
process. Being a Notre Dame quarterback and the mental gymnastics you got to play. These last 2 years, these guys had to go through that. You know, so they don't know how to get seasoned in that way because that's a journey you have to navigate while still being getting better at your craft and staying locked in. That's the process of going through being a Notre Dame quarterback, and true Notre Dame quarterbacks that can play at a high level go through that. And that's both of them. Oh, Kenny is in that ripe and prime position to be able to take that to a next level because at the end of the day, you got to think about it. Kenny Minchey is the right age, the right window, but also he's in that prime position for Marcus Freeman that can show that development. CJ has only been here for a season. It would be nice to see a guy that's been through transfer mental gymnastics both years, has a relationship with Denbrock where we can expand on that and he feels comfortable in knowing at least some of his calls. I mean, this is stuff that we can build on. And having that excitement coming into a role where the window is open. It's not like we're just flooded with number one draft picks in the room that we know of. And we're openly not getting anybody right now. And you have a nice, you know, lofty competition to prove yourself against Steve, who's shown a lot of promise. So it's a winnable competition. It's not like he's, Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, and you're like, oh my, Jesus Christ, you can't do enough. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
This is Steve Angeli. I mean, not that we don't love him, but I mean, he's been more highly disrespected than most quarterbacks. I mean, they've shown you what they thought of him. So it's more of like, okay, but this is still competition, and we need you to still be better than that.
right.
Steve is good. He's not, that Cam Ward putting up crazy numbers with four different receivers, that type of player, but can Kenny do it? That's what we kind of excited about. Well, he can move around, he can throw it and nice, and the receivers are thirsty for getting some more big plays, and this could be a fun offense to watch with Denbrock, that who we all know likes to throw the ball down the field. And once again, when you talk about fit, Steve, ain't the most actively running around guy. He'll run the ball, but he's not gonna give you that. You know, Kenny can give you a little bit of he can throw it deep. That sound like a Dim Brock special. It's just about fit. So I think it's one of those things we can really find out if we can play with what I believe is going to be the big boys, and that's these young superstar quarterbacks who can all do that, by the way.
It is, you know what, Left? Let's do something special because we haven't seen a lot. Let's harken back to what made these guys pretty good in your eyes heading into that time with Notre Dame. I will, before we get to this, because let's watch some film on Kenny Minchey and then CJ Carr from their senior years to just go over like what really made them good on the high school level. Before that, I saw that somebody in the, I can't speak to, this is how false narratives get started. If anybody is telling you, I'll say it. If anyone is telling you that they know for sure that Kenny Minchey doesn't want it, they're lying. How can they tell? You can't tell whether or not somebody wants it. What are we talking about? If anyone is being that disrespectful and irresponsible in the media to start a narrative about a kid that has not had the opportunity to show. We thought Sam Hartman wanted it until he ran out of bounds on fourth and whatever against Ohio State. We thought he wanted it. And then he got in a big game and we saw he didn't want it. You can't tell whether or not somebody wants it until you actually watch them in the moment. And so if someone, I'm not saying I didn't hear it, but if someone is being that irresponsible to speak to that, either they're regurgitating somebody's opinion that's a source, or they're just flat out biased and being irresponsible.
But even beyond that, forget wanting it, can you get it done?
Thank you.
I mean, because you can want, I want $1 million, but hey, you know, you got to get it done. So at the end of the day, we wanted the fan base, in my opinion, want to see a guy that can get it done. We're so used to seeing it being glorified in the media, how they overhype the Josh Allens and they talk about Pat Mahomes just getting it done. That's what the fascinating part about what Notre Dame is missing is that we can't turn on the TV on a Saturday night and get us a Caleb Williams type of player. Or it's just refreshing to watch. Oh, he's just good on Saturday TV. That's the show. Heisman contender, throwing for a bunch of yards. That brings the entertainment value. We believe Kenny has somewhat of that magic to make it happen. Deuce Knight has it. That's why we were so hyped. But, you know, and winning games and giving that how you win games is important. And I think that the Notre Dame quarterback position is a position you have to go through a process to truly understand what it means to go out there every weekend in that sort of situation and win games a certain way. You got to win them a certain way. It ain't about just playing the position because you can't hide on that stage. Well, I'm going to tell it. You know, we ain't letting that pass. You just going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a person that can handle that on that level, that's where you see how great it is to be a Notre Dame football player. You get all the bells and whistles. Heck, the girls' basketball team has more stardom than any player on the football team.
Right about now, you're probably right.
I mean, for years.
Yeah, that's true. That's going back to your time.
From coach to players.
Yeah. Heck, back then the men's basketball team was popping. So
it was popping. So it just shows you that if we can blow up a team like even girls basketball on I'm talking about superstar level, What do you think we can do with a superstar quarterback? And not a narrative superstar quarterback, which we're going to talk about next, where everything he do is just times two because it makes the story just sound so pleasant. You can just run with another. So that is what Notre Dame can do. It's like being the president.
Mm.
I mean, Brady Quinn, prime example. Jimmy Clausen, prime example. They just were good quarterbacks. Were they 33-2 and national championship winners? And it don't even matter. But the way we celebrate them, you would have thought we won 4 years in a row. So
Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's go back and harken back to Kenny Minchey's senior year and his film left. And I remember you talking about he has a natural ability to feather throws. That's the one thing you always talked about watching him in high school.
yeah, it's rare to see still even to this day quarterbacks being able to have different levels of the football where they're able to layer it in different ways. Tyler Buckner didn't have it, which I talked about a lot, having a one speed type of thing. Sam didn't have all three of them. Uh, Riley only had one. So to find a quarterback that can do all three levels is a key indicator for me of being special, but also being productive. That you know how to fit the ball the way you need to, and not everything just be about how quote unquote strong your arm is. So I think Kenny has showed that, and then on top of that, had the ability to move around and have excitement to his game because a lot of this is about excitement too. You gotta like what you're watching, and when you watch Kenny Minchey, you like watching him play. Just from little things to the good passes to just the way he runs things. It's the type of quarterback that you are comfortable watching and can trust week to week.
Mm-hmm.
But overly technical and this, that, and that's just not where football is right now. And it hasn't been successful necessarily just due to the fact of the game is so much more uh, involved. So I think Kenny's tape is the tape we need to unlock the success at the receiver position because he can do so many different things with the football. And this is his high school tape. So I can only imagine it's even better after 2 years of being seasoned the right way. I mean, his story even fits for a quarterback that wants it. The guy that called up to Notre Dame and said, "Hey, I see I got some problems. Let me go in there and mix it up and make it a solution for you guys."
That's a great point, Left. That's a great point. To sit
So,
up here and question whether or not he wants it, but he was the one that called Notre Dame.
yeah,
And now we're questioning whether or not he wants it. That's a great point, Left.
yeah. So this is a good story to run with, in my opinion, as opposed to having the All American. This is the legendary prophecies sealed for many years of horsemen, legendary, all that stuff. I think this shows a character of a guy that's like, okay, you may not know me, but my name is Kenny Minchey. And you're gonna wonder how I was on this roster and wasn't talked about more. That's what Notre Dame needs right now. I think it'd be refreshing for a recruitment class to be honest, how much more can we sell other than the fact of we have an explosive quarterback? How much more can you sell on these recruiting trips where you have guys that are interested but are just like, I know you guys lame. Y'all got good everything else except quarterback. that's, that's just the secret. Nobody want to play with us, which is odd for it to be such a highly consistent winning football team is that we don't get an attraction from top quarterbacks and receivers that are like, oh man, let's sign me up. Because who they like, we don't want to catch the ball from who? Who was that? Unknown, unknown, unknown. So it's time to be able to establish some known things and have people be like, okay, I've seen what Kenny Minchey did with it in his first year. I can only imagine his second. And they got Denbrock. That's what we need to be going around in recruiting circles today.
And once again, I look. This is as fans, it's easy to pigeonhole kids, right? This is this type of quarterback, or he seems like this type of quarterback. I think it's unfair. Like I saw someone in the chat, connect CJ Carr to being he's a coach's type quarterback. Don't do that to him. That's either way you're minimizing these kids. We don't know. You find out about kids when the bullets start flying. The only thing I can say about these two kids is that they have the best arms in the quarterback room. Last year and going into this battle this year. That's the only thing I can say definitively. I saw it consistently, practice after practice. That's it. That's all I can say. They didn't let us watch enough scrimmages. CJ was hurt half the year. I don't know what Kenny was doing at the practices from the scout team. I don't know. What I do know is that the arms in the quarterback room are about to take a significant upgrade in practices. That's what we know. All of you can believe that. That's what you know. That's what you know. And so everything else about these kids, we don't know. We don't know. All right? We understand the lineage that CJ Carr comes from. But don't just make him out to be just the nerdy quarterback that knows everything. Dude, he might just surprise you and have some off script to his game. He might have a little bit of Brett Favre in him. Don't just minimize him to just being that book smart quarterback. Don't do that. We don't know what he has. We don't know how he's grown. And don't just put Kenny in the box of just, oh, he's just a gun. No, we don't know. We don't know. And definitely don't fall prey to, oh man, I can't even speak to whether or not it's true. But that you got to want it? What are you talking about? All three of these guys want it. I know Steve Angeli wants it. I believe that. Otherwise, if he didn't want it, he wouldn't have stayed around. He could have left last year. He could have left after the playoffs. It's certain things that we would not disclose, that we're privy to, that we pretty much know for sure how Kenny Minchey feels. But there's no need for us to talk about it. And I know CJ Carr wants it. So you have three guys that want it.
That's what matters.
If anybody's telling you anything other than that, I'll call cap. You can blame it on me. I'll call cap.
This prime position. This is about who really wants it. Because like you said, all three guys feel like this is their year, which is great. This is not a situation where we're looking around being like, who's going to step up, guys? All three guys want to be the guy, want to be the dude, and see the opportunity they can step into where all we got to do is better than that. Last year's performance, and that's saying a lot, but at the same time, it was a glaring strength and also a glaring weakness. So this is great to see, because as we're about to talk about the other quarterback with CJ, Kenny's just in a good spot to take the mantle. So is Steve Angeli, but if I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm thinking, how can I not take my foot off the gas on fitting in that, getting into the college football playoffs each and every year?
Before we get to CJ, we have a GTB question here. Let me get to it. Paul _5 _horny. Thank you for tapping in, being with us, and thank you for the GTB. Do you guys think Denbrock knows who the quarterback, who QB1 behind the scenes is, or who he's banking on? I can lead the way with this one, Left, and then I'll let you explain it better probably than anyone can, just like you explained what the pitfalls for the quarterback last year would be before everybody else kind of jumped on the bandwagon in the middle of the season. But um, we all have preferences in life. Sometimes you fall in love with your preferences, and sometimes you don't. Do I know what Mike Denbrock's preferences are? No, I do not. I do not. I'm sure he prefers his quarterback to be a certain way. I feel pretty confident that if you ask Mike Denbrock and you hook him up to a lie detector test, um, the quarterback he had to coach this past year will probably not be his preference for the type of quarterback that he wants to run his offense. I'm just keeping it a buck, Left. I'm just keeping it a buck. That's just my opinion. If you hook Mike Denbrock up a lie detector test and flat out asked him, Coach, did you coach the quarterback that you prefer to coach in your offense?
At the test, we know. We watch TV.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just being honest. So yes, he has a preference on what he likes. Is it
I think
Jaden Daniels type?
I think his type is in the room. I think that's what matters. I think his type is in the room. He doesn't have to be uncomfortable going into the first 5 games of the season. I think that's the best part.
It's interesting you say that, Left, because I believe there are multiple types of quarterbacks that he would love to coach in the room.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
His
type is in there. Like
his type is in the room. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Either kind of way it plays out, I feel like he's like, okay, I can work with this.
Yeah. Now we're just talking about the physical traits. The mentality, whether a quarterback is more outspoken, someone might be more of a quiet leader, introvert, but still just as confident, if not more. Or a guy like Steve that is just, man, throughout the program, just respected. Like Steve Angeli is respected. He is flat out respected throughout the locker room. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So, you think about it and you just say to yourself, he has a preference. I personally don't know. Maybe some other people have had private conversations with him and they know. But ultimately, this is what I love about sports. We can talk about it. This field is going to determine it. We talk about it all day. When we walk on this field, that's going to determine what happens. And so I hope that Mike Denbrock, my prayer is that Mike Denbrock falls in love with somebody
right
during the spring. I've said that from the jump. I do not want to go into fall camp trying to figure out who the starter is. I would love for Mike Denbrock and Marcus Freeman to identify somebody in the spring and say, okay, all right, whomever that might be. This is the guy. This is the guy. So, yeah, I would venture to say, like all of us, yeah, Mike Denbrock probably has a preference of how he would like things to play out. But I'm sure everybody in the chat, everybody watching has a preference. He's Mike Denbrock is probably no different than anybody else. That's a fan, coaching staff. Gino probably has a preference. It is what it is. That's being human. Like, man, I would love for this to play out this way, or I would love for this to play out that way. I'm sure Marcus Freeman would love to go into the fall with all three quarterbacks in the quarterback room. Might not be likely if things don't go a certain way, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he would love to have all three quarterbacks in the quarterback room for that first game in Miami. All right, next up, the youngster, the gunslinger, CJ Carr. For you, what CJ Carr, is it just pure being healthy for you left? Like coming back, had the elbow that kept him from throwing for about 4 to 5 weeks during the season. He was back to throwing towards the end of the season and during the playoffs. For you, is the biggest question for CJ Carr going to be his health and how his arm is able to hold up?
Yeah, I mean, I just would really like to see CJ just stay close to the fire, be, a viable option, not just a guy to fill a spot. We want him to still continue to show promise, maybe still look like he's a year away, but it's something we could work with if all else fails. But, um, everything he does is going to be 2X'd. That's just what it's going to be. Something that Kenny's going to have to, which I think mentally he's going to be tested more of this year of you almost can't do good enough because anything CJ does is just going to be over pressed. And that's saying a lot. That's high expectations for CJ. But also,
It's no different than Quinn and Arch. No
right,
different. No
right,
different. Arch, I mean CJ just uh, I mean Quinn just happened to be the starter,
right.
you
And
know,
it's,
and,
same
and
sort of
Kenny's not the incumbent or the starter. But it's the same thing. Anything Arch did in practice, it was news. Message board, you know.
and CJ's gonna do everything the right way, and he's gonna be the guy that is the comfortable pick once he becomes ready physically and this, that, and the third. I mean, I believe, gonna have a solid career at Notre Dame. So um, it's one of those things where it's a good challenge to overcome with Steve. I think he's an upgraded Steve, but I think Kenny falls in that pocket with his skill set that can be the talent level that we need, but also the consistent throwing threat that we can be really good at with 2 years, 3 years of development. CJ is a great upgrade in what the fit we're looking for, which is why I think, he's going to be 2X at everything because he is good. It's not like he's undeserving of being there. I mean, he wanted to be there as well. When Dante was heavily recruited by Notre Dame, he was sneakily really, ready to make that decision. I'm not gonna say sneakily, that's just messed up, but he was, laying in the cut, and he knew what Notre Dame wanted. Essentially, it's kind of like Kenny's situation. He knew Notre Dame was in a certain direction, and he was like, "Man, if I ever get that chance, I'm gonna cash in."
Now, that situation always made me, and I probably was in a state of overthinking when I did this left. We know the story. CJ immediately after, you know, Notre Dame found out that Dante was still going to be exploring other options, and Notre Dame made the decision, or Tommy Rees made the decision to move on from Dante. Yeah, heck, we can talk about it now. Tommy Rees made the decision to move on from Dante after Dante refused to publicly commit within his time frame. Um, CJ jumped at the chance to go ahead and commit. There was even buzz that he might reclassify to the 23 class. So that goes to show you the love that Tommy Reese had for CJ.
Right.
Tommy Reese held him in high regard. Tommy Reese is not here. Mike Denbrock and a lot of other people, of course, a lot of other people gained, a love for CJ during bowl prep last year on the staff. Mike Denbrock came in. He hasn't recruited any of these kids.
Right.
He didn't recruit Steve Angeli. He didn't recruit Kenny Minchey. He didn't recruit CJ Carr. He didn't. So I think it's fair to say that you feel decently that it's going to be a fair competition. For me, CJ's health is my biggest concern. Just because I'm a baseball dude, anytime I hear elbow with people that throw, I have throwing motions, and it's probably totally different than baseball. But I don't know, man. I just don't like hearing elbow injuries, and he probably will be just fine. He'll probably be just fine. But for me, I think CJ, like you said, everything is going to be, because you know why everything is times two? Because CJ talks the part, looks the part.
Yeah, I mean
He is the hair and perfect hair Notre Dame quarterback. It's just, yes, he
kissing babies,
is.
hands with grandmas.
He is, and you can't deny it. You
You
can't
can't
deny
deny
it.
it's
You
like,
can't
it's
deny it. If he wins the battle, Notre Dame has just hit a home run with their quarterback from a marketing standpoint. It is absolutely a home run. That's just grand slam. Just long gone.
Talk about NIL.
Long gone. So that's something that.
But I just think it should be how you do it. It's all about how you do it.
Oh, absolutely. That's all, man.
I promise you, it's not if that's how we going and it works out, I think it will be good. It has a lot of promise. He's gonna do all the right things, say all the right things, take the right smile. He's gonna do it. I'm happy for that, but just the way you do it, don't speed up the process unnecessarily. Being thirsty, we don't have to be. Let it play
But
out.
I love the kid. I love when you watched him play. I love this. I remember you called me. We were watching him at the Elite 11, and you were like, he's going to do everything you need him to do.
Yeah.
If you build around him, he's going to do everything you need him to do to win football game.
Yeah. You can win 10, 11 games, but are you sitting at the way things are going at the QB position right now, are you sitting in New York? Do you got that talent? Do you stand out in a way? What quarterback is standing out from a talent perspective? Because that's really what it's about right now. As college is young, these kids are, dime a dozen these days. Who's standing out? And I think the talents leans more on Kenny's side. And CJ's a good player. I mean, he's no different than what I feel like with Steve, where we're going to win games with all three of these guys. But who's going to be that championship game? We need 300 yards. We need 300 yards of great performance. 4 touchdowns.
I do agree with this. And once again, this is just me pulling from minimum, like, I can't be contextual with what I'm about to say because it's one play from a spring game, which is a glorified practice. It's like it's not live, right? And like I said, we don't have access to most of the scrimmages that they've had. But what I will say is CJ, as a freshman, having the wherewithal to hit a backside, to go through his progression and had to either be the third or fourth receiver in the progression, and to hit a backside dig the way he did as a true freshman was impressive. That's something you see as a freshman, you're like, okay, right? That's something that you didn't see that from Steve Angeli. Steve was like 1-2 take off in the spring game.
CJ Carr's question is going to be, what memorable moments can you have, and can you win the big game? All that other stuff, he's going to look good against the Miami of Ohio's and the Virginias because he knows how to rally guys to play around him because he knows how to distribute the football.
That's another good point about him. He's the type of people love playing for him.
He gonna
playing with him. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, he's everything 2X now. They go hit he got the nitrous, he racing, he got the he get the red button.
We have to say that if he wins the job, we're gonna have to make a t-shirt. Everything 2X.
Everything 2X, man.
Big body CJ.
Oh man, his 2,500 yards is gonna look like 4,500 yards. Like, that's how they gonna.
No, we still need him to throw for 3 stacks.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying, it's just the whole ride. It's like you're gonna think he threw 8 touchdowns when he threw 4. The way they gonna talk about it. So I can see it now. We found the answer. We fixed the problem.
That is a t-shirt. Whomever the quarterback is, I'm telling you right now, we're making the t-shirt. As soon as they go over 3,000, it's going to be Kenny 3 stacks, CJ 3 stacks, Steve 3 stacks. The t-shirt is coming. I don't care who it is. Special LL merchandise. Whoever goes the next quarterback to go over 3,000 yards for the Fighting Irish.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Because the thing is, that's an important milestone. It wasn't even done with the greatest winning quarterback in Notre Dame history. Wasn't even accomplished with him. Look it up. Wasn't even done with him, and he won the most games at Notre Dame ever at quarterback. So, one that speaks to how great the team has been in every other aspect. That's the accomplishment. But the missing piece is going to be that 3 stacks t-shirt. That's what we aiming for. And that's a low bar for 2025. Guys sitting in New York is throwing for 45, 48, 41 touchdowns, 38 touchdowns, 39 touchdowns. 30, what? 3,000 is getting you at least 26, 25 touchdowns. That's a low bar. Even overrated Jackson Dart threw for like 40-something, like something crazy. And that's a low bar. So we trying to get into the neighborhood. The neighborhood. We ain't on the block with the big dogs. We trying to get into the neighborhood development.
All right, left a little CJ Carr. We harken back to CJ Carr in high school and Saline.
I mean, like I just see his career already developed through my prophetic football Notre Dame mind. It's just going to be, can he win the big game? When there's number 2 versus number 1, number 5 versus number 3, is he going to play big? He can beat up on these teams because we got good receivers and he's got a good offensive line and he's got all the technique and look like take his helmet off and smile. I wonder what this quote unquote gimmick will be. Is he going to be the Riley Leonard Bible verses on the mouthpiece and on the eye black and all that.
Man, relax, man. Let that man live, man. Let Riley Leonard live, man.
Never.
Let that man live. That man's preparing
Because
for the combine, man.
how can you skate through a whole season on a silver platter
Man, talk about CJ,
and
man.
not
Let that
throw for
man
5 million yards? Come on, that don't make no sense. Anyway, it's gonna be good to see. He's got the story, got the push. They just people don't get mad when he get the Bronny effect because he really gonna have the Bronny effect just through a legacy standpoint. Now,
Okay, I was about to say I wanted to hear how you going to clarify that Bronny effect, but
oh,
go ahead.
talking about our generation.
I was wondering because
Yeah, I
you
know you
refer
talking about
you hey
see, because
you
you're not.
you act like Bronny is a once in a lifetime generational talent, but
No, he's gonna be a good NBA player.
okay.
He'll make a couple All-Star games in the future.
What? Who will make some All Star games in the future?
Ronnie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about CJ Carr. Oh, my bad. Keep talking about CJ. I'm not playing with you today, Left. Man, CJ Carr, continue, man.
Anyway, yeah, CJ's. You just watching this. He can do all the things you would want to see. He's obviously a huge step up in the throwing department. He's gonna get the credit of watching film more than the coaches, and rumors of him actually doing the game planning, and while the coaches is sipping coffee and laughing with him. You don't get all, and that's fine. That's fine if it translates in big wins. That's what we got you for, and you don't need no help per se in getting any extra boost. He might even get the if we lose, it ain't his fault credits, because the story just, which is fine. We got that type of recruit. But from a talent standpoint, he can do all the things you ask him, make all the throws and checks, and can move around a little bit. And it's just gonna be like I said, when you're going against that Jalen Walker and that Abdul Carter and them dudes that's gonna get paid lots of money to sack the quarterback, and with them corners that's running them 4-1s and 6 feet and jumping out the gym, and when you're going against guys like that on defense, can you play big? Because that's all this. I mean, you're gonna get protected and have better talent than most defenses because that's how we recruit. So you're gonna do what is in front of you. But when that bat phone rings, when they shine it up in the sky, and we looking for an answer, and it may be fortunate enough to come like it did last year when it was only one time, and that was at the end of the road. But when that time comes, can we be that? Because that's what they're asking about Arch. That's the only thing Arch got to do. When one of them 5 versus 1s or top 5 matchup, dramatic comeback, that's all they waiting for is a moment from Arch. Because they're gonna replay that on all the little college football commercials, and it's hey, I see it. See it. So all he needs is just moments. And that's what CJ is gonna be in line for as well. I think they're gonna, because he just need a moment to be something they can be like, oh, that's why he's got the football lineage, and they gonna play the story in black and white 15 million times during the game, and get him with the good one-on-one interview with the top interview lady, and he just smiling, and it's gonna be what Notre Dame wants, which is great. I just hope it translates and take it that next step.
Left, I think you're spot on, man. You're spot on. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Hey man, I'm really interested in seeing how this shapes out. It's going to be one of the most incredible things to watch. Um, what I'm going to try and do is I'm not going to do the whole this person on this day because I don't see every day. And Notre Dame is very good. The one thing I love about Marcus Freeman is they're very good at crafting what they want the media to see. Very good at crafting what they want the media to see. So even when we have access, it's really not a insight into what's going on because we rarely see when they go live. Rarely. We might get two opportunities throughout the entire spring and fall, two opportunities each to see them really go live, and what we see more than likely is going to be a result of what has already transpired. Um, Going in, I would expect Steve to get the first reps. I would expect Kenny to get the second reps or to split second reps with CJ. That's how I expect it to go. And I expect both of them to have to go get Steve. Like Steve's there, go get him, you know. And if
Yeah,
they don't do that,
that's how they gonna do it. They gonna be like, look, we ain't saying that we want you to be the guy, but you know,
yeah,
somebody, whoever gonna do it.
you're gonna have to do it. Somebody's gonna have to pop out and show.
Yeah,
Somebody's gonna have to pop out and show.
yeah. I think that he got the most encouragement probably coming from the. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I just think more. Let's put it on the coaches. Yeah, Gino need to pop out and show what he's developed. That's what we need to see. What is Gino gonna be like? All right, guys, this is why y'all paid me. I was on the shelf for a year. It's my debut album. Called Thin Line. That's how we gonna come. You know what I'm saying? We dropping bangers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you come out here and lay an egg, we're gonna have an issue. Because we good stewards, but we not always just straight charitable. We gotta get something coming back this way. So, we Marcus Freeman did a great job of masking and shielding you from any criticisms for the last 2 years. And that's rare in a program that is as spotlighted as it is. Now Marcus Freeman can be like, all right, I need to start asking some questions around on the offensive side. Asking me all these. I need to start talking to Gino. I mean, I don't know all the quarterbacks. I'm a linebacker, so he's activated. He got to find out what's going on down there. Pass the blame around. So I think this is exciting because now we can turn our eyes to what last year was just a one-off. I don't want to live on a trend like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but much rather it be ride or die with my quarterback.
But I will say this: I think the coaching staff will have a lot more confidence in the offensive line than they had during the spring and the fall last year, and that could also impact, like you said, looking at the future. If let's say Steve Angeli outplays Kenny or CJ, but he outplays them by this much. You take the chance, right?
Yeah.
You take the chance. Like if it's by a small margin and you got this youngster that you can play for the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years, most coaching staffs will probably take the chance on the youngster. So I'm locked in with that super chat. Paul 5 Horny, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you, my man. You guys better be planning on coming to Miami and setting up shop. Go Irish. Hashtag LL Tailgate. Hashtag at the Ocean Drive on Ocean Drive. Let me tell you something, man. Look, man. My plan is to come down there and to be in the middle of the belly of the beast. Okay, my boy, my brother, who is a Miami alum, has already said, "Yo, let's go." So I'm trying to figure out: am I going as media or am I going? Cause see, I don't mind, left. If you tell me I can walk in with him and be in the suite or on the sideline, I don't care if it's the Miami sideline. Yeah, I might have to take off. I might have to ignore my media responsibilities for that day. But I do plan on being there.
Oh, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know.
Hey, what you mean? I'm a fan that day. I'm a fan. I mean, I can report what I'm seeing. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't mind. You talking to the same dude that bought tickets in the middle of Block M as an Illinois student, bro. I didn't care. And I stood in the middle of that game and watched Kirk Kittner and Rocky Harvey bang Tom Brady and the rest of them cats at the big house and talk trash the entire time. Talk trash the entire time. Was dogging Drew Henson. Like, go back to baseball, you trash. I do. I don't. I'll go in the belly of the beast anytime, especially in an away stadium.
And you taking Roosevelt too?
Let's do it. Let's do it, boy. If I get, man, I'm telling you now, boy. If I'm on that sideline with JP, I'm gonna be talking to all dude. I'm gonna tell Michael Irvin a thing or two.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you better start praying, bro.
Yeah.
All the theatrics you do,
let's see him.
Let's see him, because you're gonna need it, my brother. You're gonna need it. GTB question, I think, John Massey. Thank you, Lil Tunchi. How confident are y'all in the girls winning it all? Olivia, Hannah, our nuts whole squad. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, Left. All we worry about is health. That's literally all we worry about. We don't worry about anything else.
They got all the right pieces.
Man, they beat the crap out of Miami last night. Speaking of the Hurricanes, they just, sheesh. You know when a team gets disrespectful with it, dude. So I told you about the Court of Gold yesterday on Netflix. I told you to watch it. You have to watch the We Beat the Dream Team documentary too, bro.
Yeah.
That bad fella's nice. I think it's on Max. YouTube TV. Man, look, that story is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, you know, Coach K said Chuck Daly threw the game, through the scrimmage to let the college players win. And then everybody else, other coaches say, no, he didn't do that on purpose. And of course, the college players are like, no, we beat y'all fair and square. So they finally showed like the majority of the footage. The fact, regardless of who you believe, the college kids beat them the first day, the first scrimmage. Chuck Daly had to stop the scrimmage the second day. He had to stop it before it ended. The clock ran out the first day when the college players won. He stopped it before the game ended the second day because the Dream Team was up 45, dog. That's crazy. They were up 45. Like, there was some great stories, man. Everybody watched that. It's a dope, really dope documentary. But they all agree, whether you believe Chuck Daly threw it or whether or not the college kids won, both sides agree, yeah, Michael Jordan didn't play a lot. Chuck Daly sat him out. So.
Sat him out?
Yeah. Yeah, he was just sitting on the sideline in a folding chair. Like, almost like Chuck Daly was like, I cannot let this dude play. Because if he plays, he'll take over. Like, you sit your tail out let me give these dudes a chance. It's fantastic. Change is good, Left. I think everybody should evolve, right? No one's the same. Hopefully, everyone is growing and maturing, getting better at life, getting better at your job, whatever it is. And we talked about how, you know, the changes that are trying to be brought upon the college football playoff by the Big Ten and the SEC, how we didn't exactly agree with it. And it's snatching the heart of college football away. But let me tell you something that is good, Left. Change that is good. I am all for what I saw last night with the Four Nations tournament, where you have players of a sport come together and say, what we're doing for the All-Star weekend is absolutely whack. It's whack. And they took it upon themselves to say, you know what, we're going to go away from that and go to a totally different model. Get the four best nations with the majority of the players in the NHL, and we're just going to have a mini tournament for a week.
That's pretty cool.
On all pride. It ain't about money. To say who's the best country in the NFL, in the NHL. That's it. And you saw fabulous competition. Overtime game between Canada and USA. MVP of the league, best player in the league, wins it in overtime. Everything you could want from a marketing and growing grassroots, growing the game. Yeah, Canada won 3-2 in overtime. Everything you could want. The NHL got it. The NHL got it. And what college football is trying to do, or the Big Ten, the SEC, how they're trying to bully their way into things, that's not. Everybody needs to take NBA, Players Association, take notice. Major League Baseball, take notice. The NFL is a monster to its own, so the NFL really doesn't need help. Like,
you don't have a problem with getting fans.
What is the one thing you would like to see in college football change that you think would make it super dope? I'll jump it off. They can change overtime for me right now.
Overtime?
They can change it for me right now. Just go to an 8-minute overtime. Both teams get the rock, dude. Just
I don't know what I would change really, other than like,
because this 2-point convert, this all that, nah.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to think a little bit more on that.
I would definitely limit the number of transfers.
But why though?
No, when you start transferring playing for 4 teams, it's getting too much.
Too much of what?
Come on, bro.
What? I
You need
don't.
to transfer 4 times, bro, in your college career. 4 times? We actually have people transferring 4 times.
But if you can do it, what's the problem?
It's whack.
It's not.
What do you mean? It's whack.
Then you got to blame the coaches for recruiting them.
Dog, that's too much, bro.
So if Zachariah Branch transfers again, you'll have a problem with it.
That would be his second transfer. This is his first transfer.
His third.
No, he played at USC. This is his first time transferring.
Third school.
That'd be his third school. I'm talking about transfers. Your third school is your second transfer. I don't have a problem with 2 transfers. When you have people transferring 4 times, that's too much.
But why though? Too much of
5 teams? Man, get that crap out of here, man. That crap out of here.
But if you can get
at some point, you can't blame. So that's not, you can't blame the player for making bad decisions. You keep choosing
Why
bad
does that
places
be a bad decision though?
because you're not choosing the right place to go.
What makes
When I transfer, Jay Mickey transferred to Cal and then said, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna go to Boise State. Why? Because either something changed where he felt like, no, this is not right for me. It's up to the player and their parents. Don't chase the bag, chase the situation.
so
Don't chase the bag, chase the situation.
Malachi Nelson went to USC, Boise State. Now he's at
So he's transferred twice. What are we talking
Texas.
about? I don't have a problem. He's transferred twice. Cool.
Malik Murphy, Texas. Duke. Now he's got, what is he at, Miami, or where he transferred again too, right?
Okay, that's two. Now that's two transfers. I don't have a problem with two transfers.
But I don't understand the problem with
When
another.
you transfer 4 times and have 5 teams, that's ridiculous.
In what way?
Because you are a bad decision maker.
Why does it have to be? What if it?
You trying to blame the coaches in the schools. Stop.
What makes it a bad decision though?
It's a bad decision because you can't find the place. You and your parents are obviously not good at finding the right place for you. If you have to keep, or either you're overvaluing how good you are. And maybe you need to go to a lesser school instead of chasing the bag and going to a school where you can't hold a starting spot. Something is wrong.
You're saying it based on it being something wrong, though.
It has to be something wrong. Why do you keep leaving?
But what if you're playing at all 5 schools?
Is that happening? And if you're playing at all 5 schools, then why are you leaving? Why would you take if you're starting here and you're playing well, why would you leave a situation that is causing you to develop and giving you the opportunity to get to the next level to go chase a bag not knowing what the next situation is?
Isaiah Bond did it. Adion Mitchell did it.
How many times did they transfer?
Oh, you're saying if they, but who's been to 5 schools?
Some dude just transferred literally 4 times and is on his 15th. That's ridiculous, Left. That's when I say that this unlimited transfer stuff is ridiculous.
I mean, that's like 0.001%. Like ain't nobody.
That's why I said I'm cool with 2 transfers. And for whatever reason, because I think the kid that played, the McCormick kid that played 9 years or something like that, the tight end.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, but those are medical issues. He kept getting hurt. So I'll give him grace. I'll give him grace. But when you start doing things like that, Left, that's for me, it's just too much. I can't rock with it. I just can't rock with it. I can't rock with it. DJ Uagalele, he only transferred once, right?
No, twice.
He transferred twice. Yeah, Oregon State and then Florida State. You're right. And the only reason he left Oregon State is because the coach left to take the job at Michigan State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't blame DJ for that. I can't. But yeah. Nah. Gabriel transferred from Central Florida to Oklahoma, then to Oregon, right?
Dante went from UCLA to Oregon. Yeah, I mean, transferring 5 schools, I just think is rare. I don't think that happens.
I just think at some point, I don't think he transferred to UCLA. He just decommitted from Oregon and ended up at UCLA because he played as a true freshman, right?
No, I'm saying he went from UCLA to Oregon.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said he went from Oregon, like he was committed to Oregon and then he went back. He decommitted and went to UCLA.
I mean, I don't see a problem with transferring 5 schools if obviously you can keep getting picked up like that. There's some value in that. So
Now to keep it funky. There might be some people that treat it like, first contract, second contract, third
no,
contract. I
yeah,
mean,
you get
if you want to treat it like that,
that's how the UNLV quarterback did it. He just played a couple games, got his value up. He
let's
said, "Oh,
say hypothetically, Jeremiah Smith jumped in the portal. He just won a championship.
he
Let's say
get
he
10."
jumped in the portal, right? Let's say he went to Oregon, who was second in his recruitment. And then he leads Oregon to a championship. And he jumps in the portal again to get more bread. That's him treating it like a business. That's no different than the Burton kid that won a championship with Georgia and got money at Alabama. I, I mean, we talked about it yesterday, Left. This is the environment that the NCAA and the adults in the room have created.
But it's only a couple guys doing it, you know. I mean,
Well, there's only a couple of guys that can do it.
right? That's what I'm saying. It's not enough to where you got to shut down all the rules and stuff. That's why I'm like, it's just the way you cover the transfers matters more than what's actually taking place when you take a step back. There's only one Jeremiah Smith. The only other receiver that can do something like that is maybe Brian Williams. Maybe.
Yeah. And
That's
he tailed off a bit
yeah.
towards the end of the year.
So it's like, who else are we really talking about that's even in a position like that? You know, so
Yeah.
I think it's just a go to where you can fit in. Jeez, I mean,
Yeah.
you're trying to get to the league, and these schools ain't treating it with education first in mind.
No.
Athlete, student, not student.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for everybody for jumping in, man. Tapping in with us. Some breaking news drops, and they left the recruiting coordinator job over the weekend. We'll let you know.
They want to win, get leak in.
They want to win, get leaking. Oh, you gotta love it. If they want to win, get leaking. I love it. I absolutely love it. So for Left, I'm SD2 Mics, man. We'll see you guys on Monday for another edition because there's nothing really popping this weekend, right?
Any fights?
Illinois is going to get scraped at Madison Square Garden by Duke tomorrow.
Scraped?
Oh, they're going to beat the brakes off Illinois, dude.
What? Yeah, I got that freshman sensation.
What else? No, man. It's all basketball. This is one of those dead periods. I think the Lakers and Denver play Saturday night, prime time.
Braun back-to-back 40. Man, ain't nobody ever did it. Back-to-back 40.
The Mavericks, do they play the Mavericks tonight or is that next week? I think that's next week. They play the Mavericks.
Braun with 40 back-to-back.
I mean, I'm not impressed, but I mean,
what? Oh, sure.
You have first of all, you have a low bar, bro. You have a low basketball bar. Yeah, you think Zach LaVine is impressive? Yes, you have a low basketball bar. Yes, 40, you do.
For Chicago. For Chicago.
No. No, you said Zach LaVine was a supermax player.
For Chicago, yes.
You have a very low basketball bar.
For Chicago, I guess.
No.
I'm just saying the bull.
No. Every Chicagoan that has experienced Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Derrick Rose will tell you have lost your mind. You have a very low basketball bar.
He's right
It's
underneath.
okay.
He's right.
It's okay. No, he's not. He's underneath the bus. That's what he's underneath. He's not even on the team bus. He's in the compartment where we carry the luggage. You know where we put the luggage on the bus?
Player.
In what? In the last 5 years?
Last at least 25. At least.
The lies you tell, man.
You can't tell me he's a top 10 Bulls player the last 25 years.
You said a top 25?
Top 10.
In the last how many years?
25.
Last 25 left? Let me Mike, Scotty.
Hold on.
Wait.
2000s?
You said 25. So good. Yeah, okay. So you made sure you got the 98 Bulls out of the way. I see what you did. That was real slick, boy. That was real slick. Boy, you made sure Mike and Scotty and the crew just barely missed the miss. I see what you did. That was real slick. That was real slick.
Do it easy, man.
I like what you did. You're right. Let me. He's not better than D. He's not better than Joe. He probably was he a better Bull than Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
No, because Jimmy Butler led teams to playoffs. No, he wasn't. He flat out, he just wasn't. I would give him top 10. I'll give him top 10. I'll give him top 10. Luau, he wasn't better than Luau Dang. No, he wasn't, bro. He wasn't better than Elton Brand. Elton Brand was 2000. Elton Brand was Rookie of the Year. So, no, and an All-Star. So, he wasn't better than Elton Brand. So, he's not top 5. He's top 10.
Yeah. So, what? I'm saying. Zach LaVine.
So he's a bench player. He's a bench player for the past 25 years. You happy about that? Like I said, you have a very low bar. You have a very low basketball bar, my brother. That's okay. We'll see you guys Monday, man. Thank you for tapping in. Don't forget, patreon.com, Lucky Lefty Network. I'll be starting first Down and Distance on Monday, dropping the first episode. Cutting Room Floor is coming with Left. Players Lounge, Players Only, podcast, and the Lucky Legends podcast. Go over right now, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network, and subscribe to Lucky Lefty Network on YouTube. Follow us X, Instagram, TikTok at Lucky Lefty Pod. For Left, SD2 mics. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Make sure you continue to spin it different.